one of the things I often encounter when I talk to people or listen to people about health is everybody gets into obviously the right eating habits, exercise, the right, maybe fasting, or maybe whatever, keto, whatever diet, right? But all of them are talking about the body, right? Keeping in a body. So here's what I would say. No matter how perfect of a body you might have the six pack, you might be Mr. Universe, you still be unhealthy. Oh, how can that be? Right? This. And that's what most people like. If you go to a nutritionist or nutritionist or health coaches, whoever, right? I would say 99.99% would never address the mind part that much. Yeah, maybe they'll mention a little bit, have healthy mindset, or maybe, I don't know, yeah, keep your, stress-free, whatever, but they don't give any detail because most of them are not into, do not have detailed experience into that part, like a meditation, you know, uh, or reading books, listening to positive stuff and avoiding negative stuff and negative people and Debbie Downers and all those kind of people, right? It's not that you don't talk to them at all. It's just you try to avoid, being with them a lot. But anyway, if you're one of those people who is looking to be healthy and you think I'm not talking about physical fitness, right? You can be physically fit, like again, like I said, six pack and all that stuff. But I've seen during COVID time where people were talking about, boy, that guy was very fit, but he still like succumbed to, COVID pretty heavily, or someone died even they looked healthy. That's where I automatically said, that doesn't matter. Somebody looking healthy is completely different than actually being healthy because of the mind. The mind importance is seldom discussed or given really that much importance. People might mention it, it's not given importance. You can eat the best food, healthiest food, all the stuff you want. You can be exercising every day, lifting great weights, and whatever you're doing to have this six pack abs, or whatever you can. But without that mind being clean, it's still not going to work. The mind body connection is very, very important. It's totality because the mind is part of the body, but seldom people exercise it. Very few people exercise it, essentially, like reading books, meditation, or prayers, whatever form of meditation, mindfulness practices, right? Not going to say you need to be meditation only. Basically, mindful, present, being grateful for what you have, all that positive thinking that so that mind is not stressed or is worried or you're thinking too much about the past and the present. Mindfulness is nothing but living mostly in the present. It's not that you could never go back to the past or look in the future and, think about the things, right? But you don't stay there. You stay in the present a lot more than you stay in the past and the future. That's what mindfulness gives you. And that what settles the mind and the brain and the body into calmness to not stress you out and cause other injuries. Remember, many times injuries don't show up immediately. It takes years. And your thoughts, your stress factors, you might think there's nothing going on right now, but you don't know when that will show up. For example, when I started my health journey, I got, within 6, 7 months or so, I had this gallbladder issue, big time, right? By that time, I was very into, fasting, all that stuff, eating great food, organic food, all that. I thought health-wise, I was doing really great. And then all of a sudden, I got this gallbladder. I'm like, what the heck? Doing all this great stuff, you know? Why did I get gallbladder? And then I'm like, Then I understood, no, that was there for a long time. It just flared up. It just, you never know when those things will flare up. They could be there for years. And then I got ulcers, stomach ulcers, similar, right? Immediately was almost like back to back, 1 to 2 years. And last 2.5 years, pretty fairly healthy, other than cold here and there. I bear, 1 or 2 days colds. That's what I get. Even COVID time, I never got cold. Well, I did get COVID. And from now, what I understand, my minor cold was COVID, potentially COVID. One time I tested myself, it proved out to be COVID, but was like a minor cold for me, 2 days, right? And I didn't take any meditation other than like maybe vitamins. That's it. I don't do medication that much. Why that is the case is that's what I've learned is when there is an imbalance in the mind, stress factor, whatever, that's what causes the illness, disease. As Peter Crone says, as Peter Crone, who I love, called Mind Architect, dis-ease. He calls it dis-ease. Whenever there is a dis-ease in the mind body, that shows up as a disease or illness, minor or larger on the long run. Of course, food matters. Absolutely. I would say 90% is probably food. 90 to 80%, I would say, is food. And then 10 to 20% is mind, or it could be more. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. That's just my guesstimate. But I say significant. There is pretty significant portion of it is mind, but there is a mind, gut body connection, which 90% of our mood can be determined or kind of influenced by what we're eating. So if you're eating bad food, that can influence your mind, create negative stress factors, even though you don't feel like you have any stress issues. So that's one thing. And then the negative or anger or triggering or whatever can happen through food. But you can find those information, elsewhere. What I am talking about is where people do not pay enough attention is the whole mindset in keeping you healthy and importance you should give to. How do you do that? Is personally, I believe, and listening to most people, that's how I got my schedule. I didn't just make it up on my own. Listening to people, highly successful people, highly respectable people that I know, like Tony Robbins, whoever, right? Everyone I know does meditation routine. Everyone I know read books every day, no matter what. Even like Warren Buffett, right? Every day he reads a book, right? When highly successful people like that are finding time, then who am I to talk about time, right? Plus, time is conversation in our head. That I figured out, right? If it's important, we'll do it. If it's important and it excites us, we'll do it regardless. We'll find time. And for anybody who thinks like, I don't have time to meditate and all that stuff, there's a new app by someone I follow pretty regularly, Sadhguru. Of course, he didn't write the app, but his people did, called Incredible Mind or Mind. Anyway, search in the App Store with Sadhguru, and you'll find this. It's 7-minute meditation per day, guided meditation. Very simple. I think what he did was you can even set up like everyday time when to meditate, 7 minutes. Anybody can do that. Come on. If you don't have 7 minutes, I'm sorry. I mean, again, like I said, it's a matter of importance. If you give it importance. Why do you need to give it importance? Because without meditation, your mind, well, meditation or whatever, mindfulness, you can have different practices. I'm not saying you have to meditate. What I am saying is you got to give importance to exercising the mind in the right way. Just like your body, you got to eat the food every day, the right food to maintain it. Exercise regularly to maintain it. Same thing, your mind, you got to maintain it by putting the right stuff in and feeding the right stuff and the thought process, which is exercising, feeding that thought process regularly the right way. Without that, the total health doesn't work. And believe me, things are coming. If you don't go research, maybe in next 5 to 10 years, the longevity horizon, what might be hitting where people can live up to 150 years healthy. So if you want to see that, if you're, I guess if you're young enough, like in your 20s, I guess it doesn't matter. You'll probably get there when it gets there. But more healthy you get there, the more access to those things will work for you better, right? And if you're like, 40s plus, essentially, then better start paying attention to your health so that when longevity, whatever that hits, especially with all the technology coming through, I'm sure it'll be faster than, sooner than later. So anyway, beyond all that, the bottom line is, remember, without the mind being right, no matter what you eat, healthy and all, you might look great outwardly, but that whole body not connecting, you just don't know what's going to come. Being in great shape physically is not just the only thing. Mentally in great shape is far more important, or equally important. I wouldn't say both are not important. Both are equally important. But mentally being more, even if you're a little bit out of shape, I think the mental will overcome those slight physical issues or physical not being in the best, I don't know, six pack type of. Like, I'm not in a six pack, I'm in a good shape, right? I don't have the six pack, but there was a time when I wanted to, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, but the bottom line is my eating habits and all, I'm in great shape. But more than that, I feel like in the mindset wise, I'm growing better. And I keep this theory or this word in my mind. I didn't know this before, but I use it now. Kaizen. Kaizen, Japanese word for small improvements every day. So if you do that, eventually you get to that state and then you keep improving, right? There's never like a state where you think you achieved everything. You just keep improving. Don't like set a goal like once it doesn't matter. Even if you become, get whatever physical goal, you either want to maintain it or you want to keep, getting better, better. Maybe, because you're aging, as you're aging, you want to keep that appearance and all. So then you use the same methodology that you got there to get better. So you keep improving your mind or the body, the eating, exercise, so on and so forth. Anyway, hope that helps. Remember the importance of the mind, exercising it right. I'm also a 11-step series on health. I have on my essentially website blog for anybody who wants to see it. I also have my daily routine, which kind of changed now from when I documented it. So that might not be accurate. So a little bit slightly changed because I always change a little bit depending on what I'm finding. So, it always changes. Anyway, hope that helps people.